if a young person wants to create this ability of seeing future, what does he or she needs to do?
Look at footprints rather than opinions. So if I see footprints of a tiger, ये tiger घूम रहा है यहाँ पे, तो उसमें opinion नहीं चाहिए मुझे. So the market is basically 5-7 personalities dancing at all times. So one is market is efficient. Sometimes markets are asleep, so it gives you HDFC at 1p. So markets can be lazy. So then the markets are sometimes prophetic. They're showing you a rasta to heaven. तू गधे जैसा देख नहीं रहा. Then the market is deceiving you. Trail to make you nanga totally. Markets are very generous sometimes. He wants to make you a fucking billionaire. Influencer का IPO bomb होता है, कुछ भी होता है. So you want to make money. You have to figure out.
By the time you turned 28, you were the managing director of Morgan Stanley.
Don't fall in love with companies and promoters. Amitabh, of course, is a big name today, but his company had gone bankrupt. He himself was presenting, and I was not sure whether media personality can run a balance sheet.
Give us a couple of examples that the 99% of India is not worrying about.
I realized that in the last 10 years, एक ज़माने में FIR बाप था, but अभी बेटा बाप से बड़ा हो गया, which is a domestic guy. We ourselves are not seeing the strength of India, despite COVID, despite FIR selling. India is doing something very right. But China hasn't given you returns for 30-35 years. No returns. If I just look at charts, and if I just look at facts, China's in deep trouble. Your productivity of capital, your efficiency of capital, your respect for capital, all of that is as important than GDP growth. Indian Railways was set up during an emerging market boom of East India Company. फिर क्या हुआ? East India Company बंद हो गया. But Indian Railways अभी भी चल रहा है. Markets play this social function that what infrastructure needs to come up, it overprices so that there is investment and then everything goes bust.
Because people say money makes money.
If something requires too much effort to figure out, then you're on the wrong path.
When you used to travel to different companies, you also said that you visited all the toilets.
The mark of a superior person, in my view, is that it treats everyone just like COVID. Humans suffer from stupidity called popular romance. The information age is not an information age of enlightenment, it's the age of stupidity. We can't see things very clearly, and the barking crowd takes over. And so it's a pack of wolves that hunt together. So therefore everyone's either buying or everyone's selling. Most important thing I forgot is market allows you to time travel.
Hi everyone, I'm your host Shivank and we are part of the 01 Network by Zerodha. Together, we intend to bring you insights from the top thinkers in the field of entrepreneurship, technology and investing. Ramesh sir, in a lot of interviews, he said, you're the investor's investor. And a lot of people call you the man who saw tomorrow. So if a young person wants to create this ability of seeing future, what does he or she needs to do? How can we do that?
Firstly, I don't know why they call me man of tomorrow. I don't claim to have any special, so I have no idea. And I never started life wanting to see tomorrow or something, but life has been lucky partly. I mean, life is always a murky combination of luck, intelligence, insight, probabilities in your favor, not in your favor. So,
True.
So I'm always worried about compliments because that usually marks the top of many markets and so on. So I don't know. But I think, how do you cultivate it? For seeing things as they are, not how it's spoken. Look at data directly rather than opinions on data. Okay, so let me ask you. So there's a lot of talk of environmentalism and this and that, right? Global warming, this and that. So let me ask you. So how much do you think is CO2 in the atmosphere currently?
We know the variation 71% is nitrogen.
Oh, there is CO2. I asked you specifically. CO2 से क्या लगता है? कितना होगा? बोलो जो भी मन में आया बोल दो.
It's around 1-2%, something like that.
Okay, that's the best answer I've gotten from anyone. But it is actually 0.04%.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 4% or 1%. Okay.
I remember this studying in my class 8th or something. Yeah.
Hey, global warming. I'm just saying. अभी global warming में आपने इतना बड़ा पहाड़ खड़ा कर दिया. I'm not saying it is wrong. I'm not saying wrong. But the fact is CO2 is only 0.04%. the most people I ask, they say 20%, 30%, 40%, 10%. होगा बहुत है. हम लोग इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं इसके लिए, विंड मिल में जा रहे हैं, सुजलॉन में जा रहे हैं, इधर उधर जा रहे हैं, जाओ. बोलने की बात है, see things for what they are rather than hysteria of opinions and intelligence. People who invested in Byju's went to Stanford's and Chicago's and Harvard's. Remember that. It's a giant wake-up call. I met some of them. One of the guys was a topper in CA and this and that. So I kept asking him, like, Byju mein kyun dala tune? Politely I kept asking. I think in 15 minutes he sort of came to a point where he blurted out the truth. He said, I just did it because my boss told me to do it. So, बोलने की बात है that don't think your degree is giving you ability to see things as they are. So some guy came yesterday and बोला अरे water shortage क्या लगता है? So the youngsters, young kid asked me like, what will happen if there's no water, this, that and the other. So I told them, water कितना है planet में? How much of it is water? He said 2/3 of Earth is water. So I said like, तेरे को लगता है कि पानी गायब होने वाला है? 2/3 तो पानी है ना. It's a question of intelligence to
convert that selling water.
Yeah, वो सब ये panic button किधर से आ रहा है? कि we're running out of. So you'll find in AI. Okay, AI. AI is going to transform the bloody world. Maybe one application that in which it has materially affected you today.
Radiology, I believe.
Radiology तो होगा, वो हो सकता है. हाँ, in X-ray analysis and all of that. Yes, but I'm saying, see, for 5G, for instance, 5G. One application that is differentiated 5G from everything else, nothing. You can still watch the same YouTube video that you're watching on 4G and 5G. वही है.
But better speed.
Beyond the point, you don't want speed in a video, na? You want speed. You want speed in some surgery or some. You're going to the moon and you're doing some complex stuff. You need speed. But to see Sylvester Stallone, beyond the point, you don't need speed.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
4G provides you that. I'm saying there's so much of you want to see the world, no? You want to see tomorrow and you want to see things clearly,
Yes.
I'm telling you, I'm giving you examples right now of things that are in the paper where facts are lost. Okay? I mean, I'm just asking a simple question, which is, in what way has 5G made a material difference about over 4G? And I don't see it. Technology can become for its own sake very fast. That's not going to make you money. People fundamentally lose money because of popular romance. कि ये होने वाला है, वो होने वाला है, ये होने वाला है, होगा. And just like COVID, humans suffer from a virus called popular romance.
Which was back then?
Huh?
Which was back then?
Which one?
What was the popular romance in COVID?
नहीं, COVID तो सच्चाई था.
हाँ.
But we love to see some fantasy that doesn't exist. I'm saying it is a pandemic. Like what I meant to say is COVID was an actual pandemic. But I'm saying the pandemic that human beings suffer from without a virus
is popular romance.
Okay, it is a pandemic of that kind. It's been around Earth forever. And that creates opportunities in the market. Early 90s, when we came, Tata Steel was trading at some $700. I mean, 100 times PO. तो वही कमाते हैं, no? 80. I mean, you see, it helps to be. It helps to have clean eyes, innocent eyes, I guess. बाद में जाके 4-5 साल के बाद हो गया 50-60 रुपया. वही स्टील था. So 700 में लोगों को ये लगता था ये होगा वो होगा. I met the MD of ACC. I think I've probably mentioned that to Ramesh or something.
Yeah.
10
100 पे और 10,000 पे.
100 रुपए में था, par value. वो मेरे को बोलता है कि तू आया क्यों?
डिप्रेशन वाला।
हाँ, आया क्यों? ये मरने वाला है कंपनी। ओके, द सेम एमडी ने मेरे को बोला 10,000 रुपए कि अरे मेरे से चीपेस्ट स्टॉक नहीं है। ओके, वो भूल जाता है कि आई वाज द सेम गाय तूने 100 भी बोला था।
What's this lesson here in this ACC story?
The lesson is ability to see things clearly is not the forte of experts, so-called managements. Nobody. To say that the emperor has no clothes requires extraordinary simplicity.
Yeah.
And the ability to just have an open mind to see it for what it is. And so that's what I say, that look at footprints rather than opinions, for instance. So if I see footprints of a tiger, ये tiger घूम रहा है यहाँ पे. Okay. तो उसमें opinion नहीं चाहिए मुझे. So the same thing I say, that so look for footprints. The footprints, do footprints tell you that CO2 is 20% of the Earth's atmosphere? Is it such a pressing issue? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not, but please don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-environment or anything. But I'm just raising questions that you should ask. The ability to see evidence. Like today, no one really reads balance sheets. I think people read, people see, I don't know what they do. They probably see social media, combination of all of that, and come to instant judgments, and prices fall 10%, overnight. Because judgment now happens before facts are seen. So that's creating incredible opportunities in the market. We've gone from an age of ignorance to an age of stupidity. The information age is not an information age of enlightenment, it's the age of stupidity.
Because it's too much noise.
No, we can't see things very clearly. And the crowd takes over. The barking crowd takes over. And so it's a pack of wolves that hunt together. So therefore, everyone's either buying or everyone's selling.
You're calling out the herd mentality, sir.
Maybe. I mean, you can classify it the way you want, but I'm just saying the dynamic today is that people are not really reading or seeing facts very clearly, because everyone has an opinion. And so we've gotten, this is sort of polarized the world, where people are anti-Trump, pro-Trump. Every issue, there's I think it's fantastic for market players, this environment, because if you see reality clearly, there's nothing stops you from winning. I mean, it's never been easier to invest.
There are investors. We'll come to this point. I think अगर हम सिर्फ ability to see the future सीख लेंगे ना, and to see things clearly as they are, I think our job is done. And we'll go deep on this topic. But to your point of investing is now very easy. It's very contrarian from all the market people that we are meeting. And is this thing that they say competitive advantage, the time of competitive advantage is getting slower. Earlier the market was much less efficient. Markets are getting more and more efficient, so finding out opportunities is getting harder. Earlier we could find companies which were trading at 2x their earnings, but right now it's very difficult. So what you said, it's getting easier and easier because of the popular romance. It's very different, and we'll double dive onto this.
It is different, because that is a view that information makes you money. That is the view of that, दो पी में मिलता था तो I have an edge, ये वो. I don't think that edge is gone. Okay, that was because there were entry barriers to knowledge, in a sense.
Information asymmetry.
Information asymmetry, that has disappeared, but it's been replaced by something much more easier. Which is popular romance and like bias and like herd mentality, all sorts of other things. So the fact that information asymmetry is gone is wonderful, because there is no incentive to insider trade. There's no incentive to run around like a monkey. Okay, there's enough data on the internet on everything. Okay, so that's flattened out. Okay, so that's a huge change. That's a huge change. But that has actually created even more. It's created a new set of opportunities. Opportunities never go away.
Okay.
Okay, because a human being is fundamentally a a pendulum. He swings from one thing to the other. You look at history. I mean, the real pandemic, the real virus we suffer from is stupidity. Okay. So, as long as that exists, it is. I mean, we believe that God created Earth in 7 days. We believe all sorts of things people believe and hang on to because it was written thousands of years ago. I'm not criticizing any religion or anything, but I'm just saying that the human mind is much more irrational than you think. So that is on full display now. So now that the information asymmetry is gone, is wonderful. It's made investing much more easier. Because when you had information asymmetry, you had to work hard to go over the mountain and get the information, correct?
Right.
Or it suited a certain type of investor. Now, so you had to be in Shivaji Park to get into the Indian cricket team.
Right.
Okay. Today Ranchi का boy captain, अभी कोई आता है Washington, सुंदर आ रहा है, Bumrah इसका विक्रम अहमदाबाद. Information asymmetry flattened. New dynamic. So Spotify, you had as much information as you wanted as I did, so did the analysts on Wall Street. Okay. But the stock did triple or whatever. I forget the exact number. I mean, from its bottom, it did. There was no information asymmetry. But it still tripled. So I'm looking at the price action. So what prevented you from buying it when it was bottom? There was no new information. What is causing these volatilities?
Popular romance.
If you declutter your mind, in an era where only human frailties and stupidity is on display, why won't you do well? That's the only reason we are not homeless. Because everyone, see, if everyone, 25% of all cabbies in New York also are graduates. Okay, let's get one thing. Since you spoke about education, okay?
Yeah.
25% are graduates. Student loans is a problem in America because obviously education doesn't pay you enough to pay your loan back.
True.
No other reason. Correct?
Right.
So, वो सच्चाई है. वो सच्चाई यही है.
आपने पॉपुलर रोमांस को समझाने के लिए जो सारे एग्जांपल दिए सब, those were of certain things which are not true, but it's seemingly true for the masses. Give us a couple of examples that nobody is saying, that the 99% of India is not worrying about, but those are the concerns of high worry. You gave us concerns of, if you see the fact, there is so much water, but people are concerned about water. The CO2 example and a lot of examples like that. Give us the opposite examples. जिनके लिए concern होना चाहिए, but है नहीं, या फिर those are actual, for example, you said AI, but what are some actual technology pieces which will have an impact? What is something that the world is not seeing right now?
There's many. I mean, one is, there's so many. One is IT. I mean, like coding, voting, and so on exists because computers don't understand the way we're talking. But we are not far away from a point where, so you need coding in a sense because the computer is not dumb enough to understand your English.
Right.
So English is a coding language that a computer doesn't understand. You and I understand. It's a matter of time before the computer will understand it. So there's a whole subset of computer languages and so on which should disappear. You know, if I can talk to you, I should be able to talk to
a computer.
Your camera, your this and that. Should be. I mean, why should it not happen? Because it's understanding a language. The only difference is वो कन्नड़ा में बात कर रहे हैं तो इंग्लिश में बात कर रहे हैं और कोई फर्क नहीं है. But language वो भी समझता ही है.
Right.
It's just a matter of
fact that it
combines. हो जाएगा. हाँ, तो ये होगा. I mean, there are so many things.
Give us examples. If this happens, what will happen? Let's do the thought experiment. When computer will understand English, the language of human beings, what will happen? With this information, with this fact, how can I make money?
Making money is a different game.
Okay.
Making money is a totally different game. Making money is about a couple of things. One is what is in the price. Okay. So how much madness is embedded in the price, or how much sanity is in? So, okay. So making money, for that you have to go back a little. I
Okay.
mean, you have to treat the market. Making money means you're talking about markets, right? Basically, in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Correct. No, I mean, at
If
the
there
end
are
of
better examples,
yeah, sure.
yeah.
I think market is like a 5-6 personality character. Like you have bipolar.
Mhm.
Bipolar. I would say market is pentaflow. Polar, polar, whatever. So, I mean, I would say the market has multiple faces at multiple times. Since you want to talk about making money, if you think his market is efficient as the University of Chicago guys believe, or if you think, then I shouldn't be sitting, I shouldn't have made any money. Okay. So the market is basically 5-7 personalities dancing at all times. At any time, something is predominant. So one is market is efficient.
Okay.
As the University of Chicago guys say, it just tells you perfect information and so on. Sometimes markets are asleep. They just don't care. Okay. So it gives you HDFC at 1p. Pada rehne de. Okay. So markets can be lazy.
Example of laziness. We'll take example of everything. Yeah.
Sab denge. You just note down the points because I myself might forget what I'm telling you. Okay. So then the markets are sometimes prophetic. They're making they're showing you a rasta to heaven. Tu gade aisa dekh nahi raha. Okay. Then the market is deceiving you, leading up the garden trail to make you nanga totally. वो भी है. Okay. Markets are very generous sometimes. She wants to make you a fucking billionaire. तू देखने तो गधा है, देख नहीं रहा है. Okay. तो मिल रहा है स्टॉक करके. इन्फ्लुएंसर का IPO बॉम्ब होता है, कुछ भी होता है.
ठीक है.
Okay. सब कुछ होता है. अपनी जिंदगी में हुआ है. नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि since this is for my grandson,
Yeah.
I'm telling you this happened in my life only. So I've told you 5. I think I must be missing 1 or 2.
Sleepy, lazy, prophetic, deceiving, generous. And sleepy से पहले एक और चीज बोली थी. Efficient.
Efficient. So you want to make money, you have to figure out which of these phases the market is in. Okay. In a stock, in an overall market and so on, then you'll make money. If the market is efficient, तेरे पैसा नहीं बनने वाला. Okay. सीधे बात है. Okay. And if the market is very generous, have a pina colada and sit here. Okay. The most important thing I forgot is market is the closest to a time traveler. Market allows you to time travel.
How?
Because, say for instance, okay, I'll give you an example. Example चाहिए ना तेरे को. तो ठीक है. So 2000, one brilliant analyst had taken me to meet Igarashi Motors. Bright as hell. तो
Igarashi Motors.
हाँ. तो तभी क्या था? प्राइस कुछ 700 ऐसा कुछ था. ओके.
हाँ.
700-800 था. मेरा was wonderful. वो सब story was good. But this was like 10-15 years ago. But everything was a promise. It was fully priced. मुझे लगा okay, fabulous, everything good. The analyst wanted me to buy, but I said okay. ठीक है, स्टडी तो कर लिया. ठीक है, देखते हैं फिर क्या होता है. फिर जाके 500 ऐसा कुछ था. Then it went to 250 था. 200 में. Okay, 2001 or 2 में it was around 250. Okay. I met them around 500. Okay. Which must have been 2006, 2007. Okay. ठीक है. I registered my brain. I went out living my life. I said like, ठीक है, looks fully priced. We'll keep a track. होगा. So then it went to 1500 or something. Okay. था 200 रुपए में 2001, 2002 में. It went to I think 1200 to 1500 rupees somewhere around 3 years ago or something, 4 years ago. Pre-COVID ऐसे कुछ था. I could be wrong, but broadly I'm telling you. Yeah. So then मैं बोला ओके हो गया जो भी है. Then कोविड के टाइम में 250 हो गया. So it went back to what it was in 2001. So to me it was time travel. The market has given me an opportunity to go पूरा फ्यूचर दिखाया.
हाँ.
20 साल का फ्यूचर दिखा के वापस मेरे को वो थिएटर में लेके गया जहाँ पे 250 था 2000 में. So I have actually seen the future and the price has come to 250. Back to 250 to buy.
Okay.
Okay?
हाँ.
So I called the analyst. बोला अभी क्या लगता है? He was stunned that I remembered that I had gone all this and साला 250 रुपए में जाग गया. Okay?
ठीक है.
मैं जाग गया. I started buying. अभी कुछ 800 है. हो जाएगा 1200-1500. So you can argue that you're a genius, I'm a genius. I don't think so. Market allows you to go back in time, compress time, go back because he has given you the answer sheet before the exam. उसने बोला है ये क्वेश्चन आने वाला है कल के पेपर में और फिर भी तू जाके टाइम पास कर रहा है. I didn't have to do much work. That work was done. Okay, you need good memory to keep a track of everything. But firstly, you have to be aware that markets allow you to compress time and expand time. I can get in at times and save 20 years of my life by getting something at 10 रुपया. ACC पार में मिलता है. It was the oldest cement company जब भी पार में मिल रहा था. Okay? मिल रहा था.
पावर में मिल रहा था.
Par at par.
At par
में. समझा ना? हाँ. So he was already 60 years old or 50 years old, the company. Oh, whatever, 30, 40 years old. Par value में तो साला फाउंडर को भी नहीं मिला था. तेरे को मिल रहा है. उसका मतलब क्या होगा? You might think you're a genius. हो सकता है. I don't think we should get our ego in the middle. I'm just saying that the market is giving the opportunity to go back to when the promoter put out $100. तू 50 साल के बाद आज डाल. पूरा मूवी भी देखा तूने. In a way, the ending has been shown to you and देखो beginning में there are market. Only markets give you this opportunity.
ये जो टाइम ट्रैवल पे इस पे थोड़ा डीप डाउन करते हैं. 2-3 बातें
करते रहो. Because this is okay. So let me also tell you half the things I'm telling you.
ठीक है.
Very few people understand. Okay. So I'm not sure whether your audience will understand.
सर अगर हम समझ लिए तो हमारा धन्य हो जाएगा. उसमें 100 जो के 100 जने और समझेंगे. I think your job would be done. हाँ.
तो बोलने की बात है कि if you visualize the market this way, you will give it a personality. Now, if you treat the market, if you see the market as a time traveling sort of mechanism, okay, which it is. I mean, you make money because you're making a bet on the future. The only reason you make money is if you get time and its nature and its preferences right today. Otherwise, you won't make money. तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि market allows you to go forward in time and backward in time. It can make you bust also as a result. Okay, it can put you back to where you were in kindergarten school. Okay, एक टॉफी हाथ में देके तू बैठा रहे. Okay. समझा? Even that is time travel. Okay. So 90% of the people who were in the market in the 80s, 90s are not around today. 90 much higher. So that's another feature of the market. So now we come up with 6. Correct. I think I'm missing 1 or 2 more.
Okay. It will come.
Okay, it'll come. But I'm saying that you re-visualize the market from a different point of view. And your ability to make money will be easier. Samjha? When the market is deceptive, be careful. Markets being generous, go full on. So it is, yes. Now your question will be, how do I know which of the 7 faces the market is showing? हाँ, तो इतना आसान तो होता तो, but ये सब faces सभी को पता है unconsciously कि ये सब है. Market has all these attributes. You see it consistently right from the East India Company. So the Indian Railways were set up during an emerging market boom of its time, where East India Company, I think they borrowed bonds at like 5% coupon. They borrowed some, at that time, hundreds of millions of pounds. So in today's terms, I don't know what it is. It would be some tens and tens of billion and so on. And it almost bankrupted the UK Treasury. फिर क्या हुआ? They went bust. ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी बंद हो गया, बट इंडियन रेलवे अभी भी चल रहा है. Okay. So if you look at Global Crossing, many of the companies that set up the fiber optics, they all went bust. Many of them went bust. Okay. So my point is that markets play this amazing social function that what infrastructure needs to come up, it overprices so that there is investment and then everything goes bust there. And then out of that comes like the internet. Okay, the 2000 bust.
Yeah.
Happened. So cleansed out, but Amazon came out of it. You know, so many things come out of it. So markets play this game quite well.
जो आपने अभी बोला उसमें थोड़े से सवाल हैं सर. नंबर 1, व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट कि मार्केट ये सारे रंग दिखाता है. So market is made up of 6,000 companies or 7,000 companies, whatever number is. क्या वो सारी कंपनीज एक साथ ये रंग दिखाती है?
नहीं. It is stock specific.
It's a stock. When you say market के रंग, it's a stock का रंग.
It is stock specific.
Done. जब मैं टाइम ट्रेवल थ्योरी समझूंगा, मैं गधा हूँ, ठीक है, लेकिन आई एम क्यूरियस एंड मुझे पैसा बनाना है. तो इफ आई लिसन टू दिस, देयर विल बी टू थिंग्स इन माय माइंड. वन, द क्वेश्चन वुड बी कि चलो मैं जाता हूँ, मैं देखता हूँ 52 वीक लो पे कौन सा कंपनी है. मैं जाता हूँ, मैं देखता हूँ 250 जितने भी 5 साल में सबसे स्टॉक का प्राइस सबसे नीचे कौन है, अब मैं उसको स्टडी करता हूँ. एक दिमाग में मेरे थॉट ये आएगा. सेकेंड थिंग जो मेरा सवाल होगा, देयर विल बी सम रीजन जिसकी वजह से स्टॉक, शायद द प्रमोटर हैज डन अ ब्लंडर, शायद कंपनी की करंट हालत ऐसी नहीं होगी जिसकी वजह से स्टॉक, देयर वुड बी सम रीजन दैट समथिंग व्हिच वाज दिस is this right now. So what would you say to these two answers? How
Yes. So I'm not saying that you go blindly by lows and highs. If it was that simple, a computer would do it.
Is it a strategy? Is it a good strategy to see things which are trading at their low market prices?
Yes and no. Markets generally are efficient. So you generally make more money averaging upwards than downwards. So Infosys worked, it worked for 20 years. HDFC worked, it worked for 20 years, and so on. So, okay. So talking about AI, now that you talked about this subject, this is exactly what I worked at Morgan Stanley for a while, and
but you're the youngest.
Wall Street has spent billions on AI since the 80s, looking for this edge, you know. But in my view, at least, it's come to nothing. Okay, so with all the AI, this is the first time that AI is being talked about. Wall Street has heavily looked at this for decades, and I knew a lot of the players at Morgan Stanley who were doing this. And I could be, out of, but by and large, no one's made money. So when you apply. So the type of strategy you alluded to right now is what AI would do. Okay. I'm not sure that it'll work blindly. Okay. So you have to, there will be some diamonds in that list of lows. The whole list of lows is not a strategy. But 100 में से एक मिलेगा. So that खाली analysis से नहीं आएगा.
Then?
Insight से आएगा. That is the challenge. The challenge in markets is that market has these phases, but there isn't a statistically significant number of, there isn't enough fish in the tank कि तो blindly कोई भी डालेगा तो मच्छी मिलेगी. ऐसा नहीं है. So you have to know which area of the pond you have to fish in at the same time. So that little bit of insight you have to have, and that I'm not so sure that that can either be taught or learned. I'm not sure. I mean, I did mention about the meeting Dhoni during. So I met him and I realized कि आप कितने भी cricket academy में जाओ तो धोनी नहीं बनेगा. There is a certain insight, what I call the market whispers in your ear. Finally, the market has to whisper in your ear. Okay. Now that's a difficult concept to figure out. You can't build a course on it. You can't build a
True.
But if you ask me, the market has to whisper in your ear, and that comes from a couple of. I think you can only set the stage.
How can a young person set the stakes up?
Basic studies karo, 30-40 year charts dekho. Do that basic homework. Like for instance, I mean, just to give you an example, since you asked for examples at every stage, I'll give you examples so you'll understand what I'm saying. So I'm saying that I was looking at Bangladesh. I remember telling some analysts of mine that Bangladesh marne wala hai. This was about 6 months ago. And why did I say that? Because I was looking at charts, okay? And for the last, do something as simple as that. Okay, you give me 50-year charts of countries. I'll tell you where there'll be a coup, there'll be a riot. I can tell you. Because Bangladesh told me very clearly, see, basically human limit in my view, after looking at charts and so on and so forth, is about 25 साल. 25 साल में कुछ नहीं हुआ ना, तोड़ फोड़ हो गए, coup होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है. So in 20 or 20 plus years, Bangladesh gave no return. Okay. Inflation went through the roof, currency went from 80 to whatever, crazy. Basically, you began as a 25-year-old, you became a 50-year-old, and your life was just
distorted.
Nothing happened. So there comes a crumbling point where explosion hota hai. वो होता है. And so, do something as simple as that. You study charts, you look at long-term yield inflation, you look at charts and patterns and so on. I say that about China. I keep saying that about China. China hasn't given you returns for 30, 35 years. Okay? No returns. If I just look at charts and if I just look at facts, to me, China is in deep trouble. I don't know much about China. I don't claim. But what I see in charts and what I see in data cannot be wrong. So, for instance, okay, I give you 2 facts on China. Okay. You claim GDP went up 40 times. Okay, those 35 years. I'm saying the market gave you no return. Unprecedented.
This is a common myth that if the country GDP grows, you will also make.
See, if the GDP has materially made a difference to your life, it will show up in equity market. It should show up.
Should show.
Should show. I mean, rationally speaking. Correct. No, if you're doing something right. If it is destructive growth, it will not show. If it is constructive growth, it will show. It's not necessary that GDP will show up in markets. But wise productivity of capital will show up in the markets. So you can have very high GDP growth. I mean, there's so many companies in India which took on a lot of debt and grew and so on and are bust today. Littered with that. Okay. Ambuja and steel से लेके सब बाजू है. बहुत है. तो वो चाइना का जैसा स्टोरी लगता है फिर. So don't be under the mistake that GDP growth translates to
economic or capital
market. No. Your productivity of capital, your efficiency of capital, your respect for capital, and all of that is as important or more important than GDP growth. And so the market is clearly saying that China doesn't have that. And when you don't have that, all that growth can crumbling down like a Bhushan steel or whatever else. Okay. I'm not saying China is going to crumble down, but I can tell you one thing. Okay, fact number 2 on China. Now you tell me. I challenge you to answer this question. Okay. Which is this market with the highest, second highest market capitalization in the world after the US is China. Okay. Now you tell me. Okay. Answer me a basic question. You're from Chicago, right? So, market has given you no return. How did you go from literally zero to $11 trillion other than raising monies and possibly doing, financially cute and smart moves? How do you get to it? US, I can see it. 50-year track record of the market is there. It's very clear to see that why the 60% of the... I can answer that question in a second. In India, I can answer that question in half a second. If it's grown because the Sensex था 700 रुपये, 700 अभी है 80,000 के नज़दीक, देयर इज नो डिबेट। अगर मैं बोलूँ कि सेंसेक्स आज भी 700 है, बट आई एम द सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट मार्केट कैप इन द वर्ल्ड, हुआ कैसे? आप मुझे समझाओ। You wanted me to show you reality of what it is, You answer this question to me. I'm giving you 3 months to answer this question. You will have no answer. Okay. These are the sort of questions facts you have to look at. कोई ये पूछ नहीं रहा है. Okay. So in the middle there was a rally in Chinese stock. Everyone Russians are India से बेच के China में जा रहे हैं. Market went up 30% in China, like in a week or 10 days or जो भी है.
हाँ.
Okay. Abhi जाके it has given up almost all that gain. I don't know what, I don't track it very closely, but I'm just saying, sitting in a remote corner here, just looking at data that you have and everyone else in the world has, I'm asking basic, simple questions. I'm not asking anything that requires a PhD. But आप जवाब दो. नहीं है. जब जवाब नहीं है, for a simple question, always remember there is a money-making opportunity.
How? If I'm a...
Because it's going to collapse. Or it's going to explode. Okay. वही नहीं है. HDFC 1PE में कोई आपको जवाब ही नहीं है.
Right.
क्यों 1PE है? तो ऊपर जाएगा. चाइना इतना बड़ा स्टोरी है, बट कोई ये नहीं तो नीचे जाएगा.
So अभी मुझे ये फैक्ट दिख रहा है, ये डेटा दिख रहा है. How will I make money out of this by simply shorting China?
That is up to you. How you play the game is another art. See, one thing is to get to what you think will happen. Then how do you play that is an art by itself. Because you should do it in a manner that you don't go bust. Markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay insolvent. Stay solvent, sorry.
Right.
Okay. So that is another art कि आप क्या bet place करो finally. See, so out of 100 views I have, I probably will take a bet on 1 or 2. Not on all my 100 views. Because if you don't have a nice vehicle to play with it, you shouldn't play with it.
Makes sense. So can you tell us 1 or 2 views where you are betting? Tell us some data about India which shocks you and you're betting. And you have also found the vehicle. You may not tell about the vehicle, but you have found an executionary to play those bets.
There are many small scattered facts I can tell you. And I can tell you facts which have just come on the papers in the last week. Since it's fresh, ना?
हाँ, ठीक है.
ताजा करेक्ट है ना? तो एक बड़ा कॉलम आया था. I have the... I'll give you that snap. You can put it on the...
Yep, we'll do that.
I think some guy, one analyst friend of mine sent me some about FII, net FII inflows the last 10 years, So some data had come. So he sent it to me and I was staring at it for like... for a good half an hour. And I realized that in the last 10 years, if that data is correct, I think it should be. It came in the Economic Times, one of them. It showed that basically net FI inflow last 10 years में कुछ है ही नहीं. Okay. But 9 out of those 10 years, the Indian market went up. बोलने की बात ये है कि एक ज़माने में FI बाप था, but अभी बेटा बाप से बड़ा हो गया. Which is a domestic guy. समझा? So that one chart told you that that we ourselves are not seeing the strength of India. Despite COVID, despite FI selling, despite everything.
Retail investor is able to?
India is doing something very right. Then another analyst sent me, यही भी खाया था. So, कि tax to GDP ratio, सब countries का एक chart आया, किधर तो आया. So, he sent it to me, so I was looking at it. Germany 46%, Italy 40%, 35%, ये सभी का tax to GDP ratio. India का 12%. Okay. तो I send it to a lot of my analysts. See, I always send this to all my analysts कि देखते हैं ना उन लोग क्या सोचते हैं. तो मेरे लिए बोले क्या इंडिया सो पैथेटिक है, ओनली 12%. तो मैं बोला यार 12% ऑफ जीडीपी में आपने कोविड का वैक्सीन फ्री दिया, आप बजट बैलेंस कर रहे हो, आपने 5G क्रिएट किया, आपने
इसरो सैटेलाइट्स भी लॉन्च करी,
सब किया है, यू नो एवरीथिंग वी आर डूइंग एंड वी आर 12% ऑफ जीडीपी.
शायद हम 80 करोड़ लोगों को खाना भी खिला रहे हैं.
हाँ, सब 12% में हो रहा है. एंड दीज कंट्रीज 36%, 3 टाइम्स आया. तो मेरे बड़े बहुत देयर आर मेनी मोर पीपल हु आर मच मोर इंटेलिजेंट देन मी. तो मैं उनको भेजता हूँ, उन लोग क्या बोलते हैं ना, तो बोलते हैं नहीं उन लोग R&D कर रहे हैं वो सब, तो हम लोग शायद नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो मैं बोला ओके हो सकता है. सो then I asked him a simple question. If your R&D is really impactful, your top line should also go up, na? GDP should go up. Correct, है ना? Why should your tax GDP become 36% if you're doing productive use of that? Correct है ना? सीधा बात है ना? हाँ?
बिल्कुल.
हाँ. बोला नहीं उसको. I mean, I'm asking myself, you know, कि कितना strength है ये argument में. सभी smart है. And all these guys are much smarter than me. Let me tell you that. Honestly speaking. But अगर 12% में हम सब खड़ा कर रहे हैं, then 5G में, I remember China says we had spent 100 billion in Huawei to build 5G, ये वो. And India set up 5G, I think 80 or 90% of indigenously done by C-Dot and a few others and so on and so forth. And C-Dot's budget is, I think, 300, 400 crores a year or something of that sort. It's in the hundreds of crores. It's not even thousands of crores. And they've set up 5G. वहाँ पे चाइना बोल रहा है कि मैं 50 बिलियन 100 बिलियन स्पेंड किया है, ये है वो है.
दैट इज अक्रॉस ऑल, मतलब पूरा हुआवे में टोटल मिलके 10-20 साल. हाँ,
हम लोग ने शायद 400-500 करोड़ में खड़ा कर दिया. ओके, so these are facts that tell you, like Bombay is the when Chinese expert came and told me this, Bombay is the busiest single runway airport in the world. A flight takes off or lands virtually every minute. Bombay. For instance, the Chinese believe that India is this guy was telling me, I don't know whether the Chinese believe, but this Chinese expert was telling me, they think India is a subtle power. In the sense, सेम एयरपोर्ट हम शंघाई में बनाते थे, इतना बड़ा हंगामा करते, सब विलेज 3000 एकड़ ले लो, खड़ा कर दो, यू नो, बिग बैंग. इंडिया में साला रनिंग एयरपोर्ट बंद ही नहीं हुआ एयरपोर्ट. वो करते करते आपने ट्रांसफॉर्म करके बना दिया, एंड इट्स द बिजिएस्ट सिंगल runway airport in the world. Okay, we never stopped using that terminal too. It was a running airport. It was like a car's running and you were repairing the car while the car was running. We did it. So there are many such facts.
Tell me a fact by which a young person can create wealth out of it. पैसे कैसे बनाए इन फैक्ट से?
इसी से सबसे पैसा तभी बनता है when you see reality for what it is. First, I'm telling you the basis why Indian market has gone up. And I'm also telling you that where you see financial efficiencies, where you see the flow of capital working efficiently, you must invest in those sort of situations. You should not invest situations based on news, GDP growth, only on top line. You have to see the circulation. अगर पेशेंट को देखना है तो आपको पूरा सर्कुलेशन देखना पड़ेगा कि का ब्लड फ्लो कैसा है. तो मनी इज लाइक अ ब्लड फ्लो इन अ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म. So I keep saying that if you ask me to see a balance sheet, you see numbers. I'm glad I'm not an accountant because I don't know whether that'll help you make money. But I try to see the financial efficiencies that might be there, or the blood flow. I mean, I don't know how else to say it because I can't describe what I'm saying. But so I can tell that to you if there's a financial efficiency of a very good kind. तो वो देखो आप, Yeah, I can see it, you can see it.
But-
Not that I have specialized.
Because you watch 1 से 3 बैलेंस शीट हर दिन आप एक देखते हो, right?
Huh.
Can you do this apprenticeship? Can we see a way? Can we see a balance sheet? And can you walk us through a capital efficient circulation? देखिए कुछ balance sheet.
Yeah, I mean, I will.
Just walk us. Just help us. How do you do that? By an example. This can be a current example. Best if this can be old example. Okay.
ज़्यादा सोचने. See, first is you don't have to think too much.
Okay.
If you think too much, you're going again wrong.
Mhm.
In investing, be very clear. Just perseverance and IQ is not going to make you money.
Mhm.
Okay. So if something requires too much effort to figure out, then you're on the wrong path. Okay. If effortlessly you see it, you had a couple of pina coladas, you still can see it. You got off a jet lag in a flight, you can still see it. If I woke you up in the middle of the night and you can still see it, then you're going to make 10 times the money. Okay. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि you have to know nuclear physics to get your balance sheet analysis right. But I'm saying that your lot of analysts don't see that. There are many such things that that go in. So, for instance, I mean, how do I I can give many examples. I mean, like,
Help us understand this art. Give us more examples. Make it easier for us.
so let's say IGL, for instance. Let's look at a stock like IGL, which of course nowadays is down, but I'm hopeful it'll do well. But like when it went IPO, it was 65 odd rupees or something. So I think in today's terms, it would be whatever, $10 or something, or less, whatever. And that is done well. Over the years, it's done well. But more than that, I saw it as a business which has firstly no debt, ROE 30%.
Okay.
All those numbers जो देखना आपको देख लो, वो सब है. P equals 4.5. He was paying like payout ratio out of earnings was like 5-10%. He can easily double, triple. So that $65 is the dividend he's giving out this year. Okay, so 15-16 साल हो गया, अब 20 साल हो गया होगा. The whole capital जो तूने डाला था वो हर साल dividend में आ रहा है. Okay. Now you can ask me that I must have been a genius to see all that, but I don't think so. So what are you doing in that business? I sign you as a customer. Okay, I've signed you for life. Okay. So if you go to a typical company, I sell you something, I have to come back tomorrow to sell you something.
Right.
So exhaustion risk is high.
Right.
So now I have the whole day to find 100 use, and each of them I lock for 40 years. And if I do that for 10 years,
I'm a king.
Abhi, do you require much genius to figure that out?
How did you figure that out? How did you hear about it for the first time? How did you saw that? What was the channel? What was the sourcing strategy?
No, I visualized the process flow. You said, no, where's the financial alchemy? So when you tell a business, I don't meet a company to figure out कि इधर last quarter क्या आएगा, ये quarter क्या आएगा. I'm just trying to visualize the flow. Flow क्या है? Okay, what is the business? Where is the edge? Okay, where I could possibly make money. So in a business where I don't have to do a repeat sale, and then I looked at Con Edison, I looked at Hong Kong Gas, I looked at all of them are 50 plus billion. Hong Kong Gas is now, I don't know, 20 odd billion. Of course, it's smaller, but it's comparable because it's a small city like Delhi. All of them are trading very high. British Gas, of course, is delisted now, but at that time it had gone to like close to 100 billion market cap. I remember at one time before it got sold and this and that. So my point is, आप clearly देखो ना क्या है. I keep coming back to the same point, which is see it for what it is.
Give us one.
So exhaustion risk. For instance, I would any business that you have to run around 24 hours a day, I'll never buy. I've never bought.
What do you mean by when a business is running 24 hours?
Means मैंने ₹1 turnover किया ये साल. Okay. Next day I have to start from scratch and again earn ₹1, again earn ₹1, and so on and so forth. And exhaustion is a real risk, in my view, because a human being is closer to is more like a 6-volt battery than a 1,000,000-volt battery. We exhaust fast. Okay. So you can't run things. So Intel works up to a point, doesn't work. Nothing works. G works up to a point, doesn't work. So businesses which are exhausting, you can be sure you will have a down cycle.
Just for the learning process, can you give example of types of businesses which are not exhausting?
There are businesses that can be not exhausting. I mean, there are a lot of businesses which are dominant in what they do. Some engineering solutions, some business models that keep chugging away. I mean, just look at what Nadella has done with Microsoft. It was this exhausting model. He, in products that were tired or yesterday's products, for instance. What did he do? I mean, he offered that whole bundle free. Till yesterday, he was selling it for a price. Then he added OneDrive and cloud service and this and that, and made it a monthly service. Okay. जिस दिन तूने monthly ले लिया, you're a customer for life.
Life, yeah.
वही किया उसने. उसके बाद उसका market cap देख. Now he's gone to trillions of dollars. So business which was tired, exhausting business, बेचो. You buy a Windows for $100, ये लो, वो सब free कर दिया उसने. And he got into this utility sort of. So the model has made him money. And he is suddenly no longer in the exhausting business. Therefore, it's gone up. समझा? Amazon went up because Amazon Prime किया. तब तक वो बेचते रहो. Your transport, तेरा packaging cost इतना. Customer बोलते साला लेना एक मैच बॉक्स बट साला ₹100 transport cost. उसने Amazon Prime कर दिया. Okay. He flattened it out. You've not left Amazon since then. 2 live examples of 2 companies which are the leader of the pack. You are in an exhausting business airlines have never made money. It's a bloody exhausting business. Because रोज भागा दौड़ी साला. फ्यूल प्राइस ऊपर तो अभी लेट हो गया, तूने बैग नहीं डाला, ये हुआ वो हुआ, स्नोफॉल ये वो, इज जस्ट स्पाइस जेट, किंगफिशर, करते रहो आप. कितना दौड़ोगे? They're all 6-volt batteries.
Give me more examples of Indian types of industries, businesses which have done this, which are free of exhaustion risk.
कम है, वो हमने को सीखना है अभी. We have to learn. But there are engineering companies which are doing that, and there are a lot of emerging companies that are doing that. So you will see a big paradigm shift in India in the next 10-15 years. Lots of very seriously smart companies will be out there thinking along these lines. And so there's going to be a shift in the corporate hierarchy in India in the next decade and 2. You will see major change. So many of these models that I'm talking about are getting implemented, will be evident. अभी नहीं है, but होगा. More होते रहेगा. So it's very exciting days. Hey.
Tell us the story of meeting George Soros for the first time. How did you meet for the first? What was the first interaction with George Soros?
No, I think we were doing the India Fund, and so he was keen to hear. So this was I don't know where 89 होगा, 89, 90 ऐसा कुछ होगा, and we were raising the first India Fund, India FII, first FII fund. So in that context, we were meeting quite a few investors. So he also was interested in meeting us. So we met him. I met him. And it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, it was his office was where you're sitting. I mean, it was like a 600 square feet hoga or 800 square feet. You know, in one of the midtown skyscrapers. No fancy. More paper lying everywhere. Very humble office. Only 2 chairs to sit on with him and a desk. That's it. So he was remarkable. And he had macro questions, very pointed macro questions on India, this, that. So I thought he was remarkably. The amazing thing about Julian and Soros was, I mean, I usually, if you ask me a question, I will sort of know why you're asking the question. Okay. I'm here to figuring out why you're asking the question, because that helps me answer your question. But with these two, especially with Julian, I could never figure out I could never figure out why the question was asked. You know, it was.
Do you remember any of such questions?
Yeah, many.
Pointed macro questions of Soros and Julian both?
Julian was more micro. He was more bottom up. So I think sort of asking on pointed questions on budget deficits, this, that, and the other. So he was obviously running some model in his brain. I could figure out, but I couldn't figure out what the model was. So he obviously had something going. So very pointed. Obviously smart guy, knows what he's doing. So that was interesting. Julian, he was a client of mine, so I knew him well. Again, after meeting after many meetings with him, I still couldn't figure out what he's thinking, which is very rare for me not to figure out. But I could, after so many years also, I could not figure out he agreed, disagreed, argued, what. So, uncluttered mind.
Any specific learning from these two mentors of you, sir?
Yeah. I think who was that? I think it was some of the sayings I remember. So I think it was Julian who once said that. Some of their pithy comments are amazing. There's some stock idea we were talking or something. I forget the exact context now, but because it was decades ago. But I remember what he said. Oh, I think one of us, someone said that you have a bright idea or discuss and so on and so forth. So Julian said that in a bull market, who needs research? In a bear market, who can afford research?
Yeah.
So these sort of, I remember Soros' sayings one saying of Soros I remember very distinctly. I've never forgotten. He said, whenever I work furiously because I'm furious that I'm working. I was like, I was silent for a long time after that.
Because I'm furious because I'm working.
He's right. I got his message. If you're working hard, you're not going to make money. You're trying to put a square box into a round hole. Okay. So, wo nahi hoga. A good idea should look effortless when it shows up. But to wait for that idea to show up and for it to be effortless, you have to be a little extraordinary. It's easy to work hard. It's easy to get up in the morning and slog. It gives you satisfaction कि मैं मेहनत.
Kuch correct. False sense of,
I'm somebody. It requires a different skill to be a nobody and wake up when the time is right. That you're hanging out. But the minute that you should be awake, you are awake.
How do you know when of such opportunities?
वही है ना. वही तो है ना. That's why I'm saying you can't put it in a process. Samjha? But that's what he is meant by saying that statement. Whenever I work furiously because I'm furious that I'm working. Because he is in a state.
Mhm.
I remember him sitting in the, I used to, he used to visit India. After many years later, he didn't
Soros
know.
or Julian?
Julian has come multiple times to
Okay.
India. But I saw Soros a few times in the Taj. Because, I used to be in the Taj Club. My office was there for many years. And so I remember on the Taj Club, he'd come for breakfast. Early mornings, I'd see him. He didn't know I'm sitting. But he was sitting there having breakfast, quietly talking to the waiters. As I just like, this must have been about, it must have been around 2001, 2002, around that time, No, they are not busy. There was no announcement that he was in India. Not like, there was no like hangama, no entourage, no company meeting, nothing much. God knows what he was there. So, yeah. So, I think great investors have the time. Because I don't think hard work gets you there. Discipline gets you there, I agree.
Mhm.
But clocking in hours, you're better off being a consultant or a lawyer. You'll have that satisfaction and that consolation, that hard work. I earned my daily bread. Okay. Druckenmiller, I think, I don't know him personally, but I watched his interviews. And I think he's a real student of the game. He always was. He married, I used to hear a lot about him because my boss's niece was married to him. So Barton Big's niece is his wife, I think. So Druckenmiller was a common name we'd hear, and I think I mean I've been watching his. He never used to talk. So I remember one research conference. I think Morgan Stanley research conference or something. He had come where he had gone ga but some stock that will go through the roof, blah blah blah. Some idea, I heard about it. I mean, Druckenmiller बोल रहा है तो सुनने चाहिए. So then after some 2-3 months, I saw that the stock had tanked. So I went spoke to my boss and this is like, boss, शायद ये Druckenmiller का हालत टाइट होएगा, ये तो stock नहीं चला. So then he did his homework, this, that, and the other, and then what I found is that Druckenmiller gave this speech, okay, and then as he was giving his speech, he changed his mind about the stock. And here's the story. I mean, this is like years ago, okay? So I could have some facts wrong, but I'm telling you the broad gist.
Yeah.
ये होगा 20-30 साल पहले की बात, okay? So I was hearing that. I was a young kid like you all that time, ये मैं सुन रहा हूँ ये सब. I mean, like, as he's talking, he changes his mind. He gets off, not only sells his position, but goes double, triple short on it. Okay? So the bastard made a lot of money off the idea. So I asked my boss, पूछ, I mean, बेचा क्यों है? I mean, like, how can you do that? He said, no, like, I saw the, as I was speaking, I saw my conviction, I saw the audience response, I realized ये कुछ story में कुछ नहीं. Something to that extent, So I remember him. I used to also hear stories about him wearing alerts. He would trade Japan and all of that. So all night. So there'd be like electronic bracelets that would shock him if prices move. So he'd wake up at night and this and that. So we'd hear stories like that about him. So he was a legend even then. But of course, I mean, he's got a great track record. So no doubt about it. And he's doing well now. So I've been tracking him closely now because I read his interviews, and it's interesting to see how he answers the same question that you asked. That is, that we are in the age of information. So that's exactly what Druckenmiller says. He says that from what limited I understood, that age of research and the pound devaluation and so on and so forth. But now he says there are too many smart guys. There are too many. There's too much information. There's everything. So he says that when someone comes up with an idea, a smart guy comes with an idea, what he does, he starts buying right away, even before he finishes his homework. Very interesting. So he's saying that he does that because a smart guy will go to 10 others, price will be up 50% before you know it. And he says, I keep doing my homework on the side and if I'm wrong, I get out. But I no longer have the luxury of completing my homework and then buying because of this changed. So see, these are where smart investors change their game. So I mean, I find it useful to listen to them because more than what he does, I'm trying to figure out how he's, thinking. So it's very interesting. And he's still very alert, I think he's done well last 2 years, I think. That's what I think. I don't know.
I was reading your interview, and then, this is something Vishal Sarne asked you, that what's the best advice you received? And you said from mom. She said to you that you don't need to be always working for money. Your money has to also work for you.
Yes.
And now, before the interview, you were telling us that, on a different note, that don't marry until and unless you've figured out your financial. The first thing in the priority should be financial independence.
In the criticality of things. I mean, the ability to separate the critical from the important, the necessary. See, these are various buckets. Okay. So separation is important. But sorry, I stopped you.
Coming back, I want you to continue.
Okay. So basically, if you want to really get clarity, you have to be able to separate. You have to create a totem pole. You know what is a totem pole? It's like it's just like a jhanda ka, pole. So in the hierarchy of things, you need to separate what is critical from what is very important, what is necessary, what has to be done, what cannot be postponed, and so on, in a hierarchy of things. Okay. Only then can you, that applies to everything. Your day, your family responsibilities, it applies to stock picking, analysis of balance sheet, analysis of key factors in a company, why you should invest, not invest. It applies to everything. This, I feel. So if you can separate out all of that, then you're better off. Okay, let me give you an example. One friend of Bill Gates gave some interview which I read, and he told me a very funny thing. I mean, he didn't tell me. I saw the interview. So he said that Bill Gates is a good friend of mine, and he would, whenever he was in town, Bill Gates would drop him to the airport and so on and so forth. When Microsoft was much earlier days. Since you like examples, now. So he sat in Bill Gates' car and he realized that the radio has been removed. The radio and the 80s there was a radio tape recorder and all that. No? So there's a gaping hole in the car. Okay, and Bill Gates is driving, his friend is sitting, and so this friend asked him, like, what is the problem with the radio, man? I mean, why did you remove the radio and create this ugly hole in it? So Bill Gates said that my priority is Microsoft, so I don't want any distraction. I don't want the radio also, me accidentally switching on the radio or something. I removed it. Now that's called hierarchy of preferences. Okay, where you separate the crucial Absolutely crucial from the important and the entertaining and enjoyable and so on and so forth. So guy focused on absolutely the crucial, got rid of the radio also. Because wo bhi nahi chahiye. Okay. That's what I mean. That whatever your preferences might be to sit in the Bahamas and have a, but if that's crucial to you, then that should be high on the priority list. I'm not passing judgment as to what should be in your top and bottom. But अगर सबको सभी you give equal weightage portfolio बना दिया तूने, okay?
40 पे
हाँ, equal weight. Infosys भी वही price में लेगा और कोई फालतू why take फालतू names ना तो रहने दे. But वो भी लेके equal weight करेगा तो confusion होगा. अगर तो वही बात हुआ. So clarity comes from how you weight things. Okay. So even in a stock, I mean, I see analysts know much more than me about a balance sheet, about companies. They've equal weighted everything. I just know there's one or two things that are the differentiator. What is the most crucial thing that will make money? And then I consciously don't read the rest. ठीक है. Well, broadly देखता हूँ, but not interested. So you're a genius. Okay, I like your genius. I'm not interested whether you drink at night, whether you, this guy, that guy, what your interests are. It's okay. I'm focused on the crucial factor that matters.
Which is?
In any balance sheet. See, any stock that will work, there'll be one or two crucial things that will make it work.
What are those crucial things?
It is different in every case. It's different in every case. Okay. Because history repeats, but it repeats with a different twist every time. So the Menka comes and goes in different forms every time. That's why you keep falling for Menkas. Okay, I mean, stocks, I'm referring to stocks also. And people are prone to repeat the same errors. Always remember. So a person is almost doomed to repeat the same thing that he is done. So a lot of my friends who married multiple times, for instance, have married the same person again. In the sense, okay, the name is different and so, but basically it's a variant of the same original copy. Okay, so same with stocks. So anything. Okay, because certain patterns of what you call your traits and karmas and so on are repetitive behavior. You see. So in stock picking also that is very true. Most people, journalists everywhere. So like if you look at, if you read a journalist or an author, soon you'll come to the conclusion that his conclusion is always the same. And his writing is about justifying what his preferences are. He'll write a 1,000-page book for it. But the conclusion is sort of pre-decided. Okay. You'll notice that. You'll notice that in judgments of judges. You'll notice that. So therefore, it is important to be aware of that. So you are also a human being. So you are also subject to that unless you sort of outgrow your own limitations. And that some people may find it difficult. But you won't find it difficult if you objectively analyze why you made mistakes, what you did right, what was objectively so, without getting emotional, without getting happy, without feeling you're a king, I'm a genius, all of that. So if you just, and if you don't have a very active peer group, you spend some time in solitude, some time, you begin your day with half an hour of reflection, self-reflection, and this and that, you'll get there. It's not that. So, very often politicians are amazing creatures that way. That's why I respect, how much, whatever people, I've met lots of politicians in my life, and I think people underestimate their talent. And we overestimate the talent of CEOs. And we underestimate the talent of politicians because, they're reflexive. They are mirror to what the people want, and they adapt and they change and they, so So whatever one's personal likes and dislikes about politicians, I mean, you look at someone like Trump, he's obviously reflecting the certain angst and thought process of a huge chunk of Americans. He's capturing it, articulating it, expressing it, executing it. Modi, Putin. I'm saying everyone. They're not. It's an exceptional skill. They have this ability to self-reflect and self-course correct. You see, I think some of these guys are smart. So I think in investing also the same thing. You have to course correct. What worked in the past will not work. Every day markets evolve, situations evolve, everything evolves. So the ability to course correct can come only with a little bit of self-reflection, and I think it comes with a quiet mind. If your mind is not full of chatter and it's probably easier. But I don't think it's an easy process. Otherwise, everyone would do it. So I don't believe markets are a democratic process where everyone can be a good investor. No, I don't think so. It will always be a minorities
who will make most money.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions that I've noted on this, but coming back to the first thing, sir. By the time you turned 28, you were the managing director of Morgan Stanley.
Somewhere around that. I forget exactly now, but 30 or something, I think. Yeah.
Here's the problem statement, sir. The first priority, if a young person in his early 20s, the first priority for him, it's clearly defined but fully focuses financial independence. And he comes to you and say, yeah, I want to achieve this because you have done that. Being patient, in the next 10 years, by the time I turn 28, 30, I want to achieve financial independence. What would be your take on that? Your grandchild is asking you the same question. You have done that firsthand. Can you teach the skill? Because you mentioned that's the most important thing.
Well, first you have to take a sankalp. You have to decide that you want to be financially independent. And that has to go in deep. And by that deep, it means you will not take loans to buy the apartment, your Mercedes car at 20, 25. I mean, as far as I can see, I know lots of 25-year-olds, and they've all bought 3-bedroom apartments. They've already bought, and your road to financial freedom is already being turned. So, determination to become financially independent also comes with sacrifice. It comes with the fact that you determine that it's not a matka you're playing. So, it's a monthly road that you climb. Okay. So, no one starts with a large salary. Everyone starts with a small salary and so on. So, small steps get you into the direction of fundamental, financial freedom. So, you have to ask yourself simple questions like, every month of your life, did you spend more than you earned? Just a small discipline. Try to do it. Okay. Not easy. There'll be all sorts of pressures and so on and so forth. So, you start. So, financial independence comes from the fact that I don't remember ever visiting a bank also. Never gone to a bank. I've never, ever met a bank manager. Despite all sorts of advice from all sorts of people, including corporate finance theory and so on. So, but I've never done it. So, you have to make a determination that you want to get there. You can't force outcomes on time. That I want to be rich, so you'll become rich. No. That'll never happen. The road will be long. You have to there's a difference between you wanting something and you determining that you will go on a certain path. And when you decide to go on that certain path, what the path comes your way, you gracefully accept. There's a big difference. So in Indian thinking, there's a big difference between sankalp, or determination. So even when you do a puja, you do a sankalp, and having a desire. Okay. Oh, I want to be rich. Who doesn't want to be rich?
Everybody wants to be.
तो उसमें क्या है? उसमें कोई मतलब नहीं. That's a weak thought. उसमें कोई मतलब नहीं है. Okay. I want to be तो होगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा. Determination से होगा तो बात अलग है. संकल्प लेके किया तो मुश्किलें आएंगी, lots of things will come on the path, and then it'll come at 20, it might come at 30, it might come at 40, it might come at 80.
Let's say I'm determined. What's the next step?
If you're determined, you'll know the next step. Then the path will start interacting with. I don't have to tell you. You can't tell me, I can't tell you. So no one told me. And I don't think beyond a point, Ravan was a big Shiva Bhakt. But even Shiva could not get him, despite all his pujas and everything, he could not change Ravan. Okay. Even gods have limitations to change you. Remember that. So Krishna gives 18 lectures on Bhagavad Gita and so on, and Arjun gets ready to fight, but no real change in Arjun. Okay. तो मेरे बोलने से, अगर शिव जी का बोलने से नहीं होता है, कृष्णा का बोलने से, मेरा बोलने से क्या होने वाला तेरा? कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. ओके, वो याद रखना. You take them, you have to live that, you have to live your life. So you have to tread your path. No one can, someone can guide you, someone can help you, but I don't think someone can walk for you. There's no insurance policy you can buy today to ensure that you'll be rich. No. In fact, if you're seeking that insurance, you will not be rich. True. Because as Soros said, what was Soros saying? I'll tell you what he said.
Take your time.
What did he say? I'm trying to get his right words. He had said that, what it is about investing. You make money only because you put money, you could lose it all. Because you're putting money at risk, you make money. Okay. So he basically said that you become wealthy by
taking
the risk of losing money. Also.
Wow.
So वो Soros का statement है, मेरा नहीं है. तो I remember, I'll find the exact words. This was like 2-3 decades ago.
He said to you?
In some meeting, I had overheard him say that. Yeah. That you only make money because you're taking the risk of losing it. Yeah. So, अगर you buy treasuries and घर पे बैठो ठन गोपाल, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है.
FD लेके
हाँ, कुछ नहीं होगा. कुछ नहीं होगा. तो वो है. There's no option. There is no guarantee. That's the grandness of life. Everyone has an opportunity. Okay. Okay. So there's no insurance policy that तेरे पास पैसा तो तेरा बच्चे के पास होगा, उसका बच्चे के पास होगा, उसका कुछ नहीं होगा. कुछ नहीं होगा. And the Mughal descendants are all driving rickshaws today. Okay. So वो clear है. So there's no insurance. Okay. So insurance itself is I'm saying there's no insurance because life is a grand event. But that doesn't mean life is random either. So I'm not saying that. But but that is a concept of karma yoga. That's a concept of tapasya, meditation. All those paths have been laid out to us. So that you have the weaponry to pick up what you want and what is helpful to you, and you follow that path. The outcomes are not in your hand beyond a point. You can only do your best.
So let me tweak the problem statement again. Let's say you want to achieve financial independence. There is no set time, but you are highly determined. And one more thing, that you want to make it through the capital markets. Because people say money makes money, because you are young, you don't have much money. Maybe you have some very little capital tends to zero, right? And the guy comes to you and seeks guidance and wants you to just guide and not walk the path for him or her. What would you say?
I say, you really want to do it, then then you got to figure out what makes markets work. Correct? So there are many ways to make market work. One is you invest money, learn the hard way by losing money, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
The other way is you get yourself a basic education and so on and so forth. There are other ways. So, each one to his own. The other is to build 10 model portfolios. You think this makes money, trading से पैसा बनता है, commodities में बनता है, cement में बनता है, IT. जो भी तेरा thoughts है. You build 10, 15 virtual portfolios and see. You don't have to have money to run virtual portfolios.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can learn a lot. Okay. So you have data of 20, 30, 40 years of every company in the world. Balance sheets, stock prices, everything. You want to learn, you've gone to school, you learned math, you learned statistics, you learned finance, you learned accounting. Okay. So why don't you do a simple thing? Why don't you read a balance sheet, today's balance sheet? I'm giving it 10 different ways right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Read a balance sheet today. Okay. And just visualize what the stock price has done for the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And then look at the stock price. Okay. Just do this repetitively. Okay. Multiple times. And then you take the game even further. Then you say, okay, I'll do forward also. So, you learn something from data. The other ways to look at data. The other ways to look at data is, okay, let's look at 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, 50-year data. And see patterns as to what worked and didn't work. Okay. No one's stopping you. You don't have to go to Harvard to do any of what I'm saying. You can do it. Very few people do it. Then you take the game even further. That I study 10 balance sheets today. And then I forecast कि 10 साल में कौन सा चलेगा नहीं चलेगा मैं बोलूँगा तेरे को. Okay. Look at macroeconomics that way. Look at countries which have made money, not money over 20, 30 years. Why they made money, why didn't they make money? You will get ideas. You will get your own ideas. Because what makes money is not one path. Na? Each one ka path alag hai. And there are many roads to row. So my path may not work for you, it works for me. So I can't spoon feed you to that point. But I've already given you 4, 5 ways to look at. And I can give you hundreds of ways like this. If you want to learn, there are everything you can learn. Okay. But so no one's stopping anyone from doing it. No one's stopping you from doing it. And but I can give you, if you wish to learn, you can learn quantum physics right now.
Right.
So you can learn math also, you can learn markets also. And like everything else, you will have to apply your mind and do it. So I have no excuse for people who say ki mujhe sikhao. Okay. I have no patience for that. Because at the end of the day, time is ticking right now. All the data that you ever wanted, which was sitting in, say, the great libraries of Harvard and University of London, and all are all available on your iPad right now.
Right.
So you have no excuse. And I'm nobody to tell you. If your own internal determination doesn't show you the path, then you're like Ravana. Whatever, how much ever you pray to Shiva, Shiva can't help you. Okay. सीखना है तो सीख ही जाएगा तू.
Tell me, so we were reading this book, Ambuja story, sir. Narottam, sir. और वहाँ पर एक story है that you had already bought 7-8% of Gujarat Ambuja cement at around 17 per share. And then you requested Mr. Saxeria to meet. And there is this quote from the book that I asked him what his target for Ambuja's share price was. He said 50. I told him not to be stupid. He said that assessment of the Morgan Stanley equity analyst does so. And 2 weeks later, he came back and he informed me that he raised his holdings in Gujarat Ambuja Cement to over 10%. Can you tell me the story of? Can you tell me the entire story, and also tell me how did you figure Ambuja's human at that point?
Well, firstly, the stock was at close to par. Okay, 10, 15 rupees. The guy was doing smart things. I had read a lot. I did not have the luxury of time those days because we had a very large fund in India, and frankly, I was doing my own research. Not that we had a huge team or anything. So there was a fundamental limitation of time. You didn't have the luxury of saying, "अरे, I'll do my homework, then मैं चाय पीऊँगा, फिर नाश्ता खाऊँगा, फिर सोच के मैं invest करूँगा." Okay. There was a pressure to put in hundreds of millions into the market quickly. So, and that is life now. Life, you don't have that much time. So you take calculated probabilistic bets as to, and who's going to meet you. I mean, you're talking about today, but in the 80s, I would call management and say, I'm from Morgan Stanley, I want to meet you. How the management would say, hey, kaun Morgan Stanley, or hai tu kaun, or main milu kyun tujhe? No one had concept of research, this, that, and the other. Okay. So we're living in a different era also. And not that I was a very well-connected guy from Bombay or something. I was just a regular guy. I was just a kid who has a job. Okay, and I have to invest. So so the Narottams of the world probably won't have, not Narottam in particular, I'm saying managements. It was a tall task to call, meet, and explain like what you're doing, and then the whole discussion goes like foreigners kyun aa rahe India mein ye wo. I mean, they couldn't figure out who I was basically. The problem was that they couldn't figure out ye FII kya hai, aaya kyun, kya he's going to take over my company, kya ho kya raha hai. Okay, so wo sab, it was a beja fry for me because I also had to invest.
Right.
So that is the reason why I had to make probabilistic views on on stocks, and I felt Narottam was a great guy. From the little I heard, he was a breath of fresh air in cement, and I saw I had heard good things about him, and I saw my entry point is nothing, and cement chalega, 10 रुपए में क्या खोटा है. I bought, and then but getting a stake was also a problem.
What was the problem?
You can't get 5% of the company so easily those days, But then one famous broker who will go unnamed, who was sort of the king of the market, was offered to buy me a block. He could work on it and get a block. So I said, okay, I'll try him out. But he actually delivered. So I got 5%. And I thought I wouldn't get 5%. I'd get 1%, maybe 0.5%. It was a struggle to build positions. Liquidity wasn't so big. तो मिल गया 5%. So, but in the meantime, I was pretty sure that 40, 50, 100 तो हो जाएगा. Okay. So nothing to lose. But I also figured that was one way to get managed in stocking. They all met me once they realized कि ये सारा 5% होना है. Okay. So the game पलटी होता है. Okay. So then MRF, MD of MRF, Maman Mapillai, he was a founder of MRF. Great guy. Same thing happened with him. So we bought 5% of MRF in the late 80s and so on and so forth. Then one day I get a call from the reception that Mr. Mapillai from MRF is outside waiting to meet, unannounced. Okay. I was shocked he was unreachable, unmeetable. I could never imagine even calling him and that he'll pick up my phone and so on and so forth. So he's sitting outside now, this tall, imposing guy. A very impressive chap. So I said, I said, no, you become a significant shareholder of ours, and I just wanted to meet you, and what your thinking is, this, that, and the other. So then that's how I started. I got to also interact with companies, partly because then they took us a little more seriously because they realized कि दिखता तो kid है, but है 5%. तो ये टेक ओवर करने के लिए आया. See, there were all other things in promoters' minds. Naturally, you're talking about late 80s, 90s. It's a different time. It's totally sympathize with that. I'm not saying anything otherwise.
You can take the call.
No, it's okay. So, so that's how we earn it. So then I figured that this is a fairly good strategy that where downside is very limited, very almost certain. And I also realized that I was not a great believer that you have a good balance sheet and a good company should be self-evident. That I should know the promoter well and so on. To me it was more of a confirmation rather than this thing. So yeah, so those are events. Frankly, these were all compulsions of the time because you also have to get a job done. You also have to invest. You can meet so many people. You have only 24 hours in a day. Most people won't meet you. And because there was no concept of research then. So everyone thought market में speculator का gang है ये वो. So there was all sorts of. So we were investing at a time when there was no research.
Right. And so when you used to meet all these promoters, there is always a story with the management cells. Every promoter will say कि यार हमारी company तो सबसे अच्छी. But there is underlying truth also. So how do you segregate between the story and the truth, the footprint and the opinion?
Correct. Absolutely.
What nudges do you give the promoter? What questions do you ask? How do you assess?
There is, firstly, don't fall in love with companies and promoters. Most promoters will be convincing. That's why so many banks lend them thousands of crores and don't get them back. So always remember that. So meeting companies sometimes is dangerous because it can cloud your judgment about things. I mean, I remember Amitabh, of course, is a big name today, but ABCL, his company had gone
bankrupt,
where we were supposed to invest. We were, I distinctly remember that, and we were sitting in a room like this. So I took all my analysts also
to meet Mr. Bachchan.
No, he himself was presenting.
Okay.
He himself was presenting, and I mean, you can imagine, I mean, Amitabh presenting his own.
So Morgan Stanley was about to invest.
No, we were. I mean, a lot of institutional investors. So we were also offered to take a stake. So very impressive. So I asked all my analysts, so what do you think? All my lovely, fabulous. I mean, like we must invest. This, that, and the other. And the very fact that I could feel in me rise that even I'm getting impressed is why I didn't invest. Because I realized that this is not fitting my usual Ambuja investment or MRF investment and so on and so forth, where there's a track record. I can see the personality of the balance sheet. These are promises, and I also realized that it requires more than a talented person for you to make money in the market. Because to make money, a person has to have financial discipline, a person has to understand operations, he has to be fair to minority shareholders. There's so many other things that even if, markets are what? You get 80 out of 100 in chemistry, you got a first class. Samjha? If you get 80% of your factors right in the market, you're going to lose your shirt. Okay. If you come closer to 95-96% of your major homework watertight, तो जाके पैसा बनेगा and serious money बनेगा. Okay. So this 80% is a very dangerous
spot to be on.
Satisfaction कि मैंने इतना homework किया 80% पहुंचा तो invest करें. नहीं. So if I don't internally feel I've hit 95 or 98%, I won't invest. Much as I like the company. I liked Amitabh. I liked, everything was good. I mean, nothing wrong. But my homework wasn't at 95. You see? I mean, I was not sure whether a media personality can run a balance sheet, deliver returns, talk to investors. There's a whole other skills also now. So basically, you have to remember that at 80%, you get to a good college and, you do well or whatever. But in markets, if you are 80, you're going to lose your shot.
But you also said that there are only 2 or 3 things which matters.
That's what I mean. That is that 95%. 95% is about first figuring out those 2-3 things that matter.
Can you give us examples of those 2 or 3 things in different forms
हर company में है. I'll try to give you my shareholder letters. My shareholder letters used to be 1 page long. All where I would describe all my top holdings, all in 2 lines. Not more. Like HDFC, it would take me 20 days to write that letter. But like in one chota paragraphs, I would write on each company. So if you can summarize a company for me in 1 paragraph, you'll know what the major factors are, the critical factors are. If you send me a 20-page report कि इसका P ऐसा है, इसका ग्राफ ऐसा है, ये है, वो है, ये सब है, तो भटकेगा. But you try to distill it down so that in 2 minutes you can tell someone else what is the edge in this company. Why will you make money? And where can that come from? When do you make money? You make money either because the market is undervaluing it.
Right.
Or the company is misunderstood. Company, fundamentals have not been understood, or management has not been understood, or the industry factors are undergoing a macro change that you can see in other parts of the world, but has not happened in India. That was also very important. So nothing is new. How motorcycles grew in the world was clear when we bought Hero Honda. How housing finance companies have done in the West and so on, it was very clear. Data was everywhere. It's not that it wasn't new. You don't have to walk a new path. So, but these 4-5 things you have to have a watertight. And the same situation doesn't repeat with each company. Each company will have a different. That's the difference between being in the market and being giving an exam. In an exam, someone has defined the problem for you, so you're solving. In market, you have to define the problem. Solving तो बच्चा भी करेगा. Solving तो एक बार definition हो गया तो solve करना, but definition में बहुत 95% of the whole is to figure out the problem statement as to why will something be really. Your 95% of your homework comes in that nailing the. Forget about all the fluff. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Heart of the matter you'll make 10 times, 100 times money on 1 or 2 things that you've got to bang on. समझा? बाद में वो सब you figure that out, and then rest you do a health check. I'm not saying you don't make obvious dumb mistake, but rest is every analyst has done anyway. 80% homework तो दुनिया ने किया है.
And how do you get to that 1 or 2?
That's an art. That's an art.
And if you have to learn that, how would you direct us?
I'd say you study charts, study data for 10, 20, 30 years. You'll figure out what works and doesn't work. You'll come up with a model that works for you.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, and what works for me, you may totally disagree with. There is no one answer as such. But I've given you what you can do.
Yep. Can you tell us a couple of footprints that today's charts for India says?
Today's charts for India say?
Yes.
I think that we are.
What is something that you believe if you were to predict future? Right? The same way you picked up HDFC, this MRF and all these things. what are certain things that you believe will happen in India 20 years down the lane, so that we can figure out, different executionaries for different things?
See, I think many things will happen. India will not be part of the emerging market asset class or something. India will be an asset class to itself, like USA and so on and so forth. So it'll become a central must-be market. The way, people demonize in the world about, Jews ruling the world and this and that, I think in 10, 20 years, we'll be talking about Indians like that.
Why do you say so? This is the story. Tell me.
Because Indians are a mercantile breed. We love money. We work hard. We were the wealthiest country on earth for 1800 years out of the last 2000 years. It's in our genes. So I met promoters from, many parts of the world. The Indian promoter is relentless, has the potential. So it exists in us. I mean, and there's evidence of everywhere. I mean, now you're finding Indians in the political class in England, in America, everywhere, the corporate world. You go anywhere, you'll find them. I mean, like Punjabi musicians are filling stadiums all over, not only India but all over the world, and so on and so forth. I mean, Diljit Dosanjh is from a village in Punjab. He's not from Bombay.
You attended his one of his.
No, I've not attended. But this is the talent that exists, and mercifully we have the financial discipline. We also have a combination of the oldest stock market in Asia. So in Bombay Stock Exchange is the oldest stock market in Asia. So markets also don't make you money because tune kal market chalu ho gaya, you'll start making money. It comes from a tradition of centuries. Because markets are a cultural phenomena as much as a financial one. More of a cultural phenomena than a financial. Why China doesn't make money? Because they got into the market only 20, 30, 40 years ago. So they think it's a den, paisa bhag ke lo. It takes centuries of give and take for a culture of shareholder rights, how you treat shareholders, governance. It doesn't come by diktat. It comes from a culture. So over large periods of time, very few countries have given you returns, and you can name them. They are the Commonwealth countries. So it is the Anglo-Saxon world. It's Netherlands, Sweden, England, the Commonwealth, America, Canada, a few of them, Australia. Nowhere else you made money. You never made money in Latin America. You never made money in Asia. Japan seemed to work for a while, but the last 30 years has gone to sleep. So it is, अगर तेरा लुंगी डालने का ट्रेडिशन नहीं है, तू डालेगा ही क्या, तू ठीक है, वो है नहीं. So India comes from that tradition. So India's got a rare combination of growth, entrepreneurs, a balance sheet that you can read, understand, invest. You have the brokers of the world here, you have the lawyers, you have the legal system, you have the accounting guys, you have everything. We can be the largest stock market in the world. We will be one day. We will be. If you just do a few things right. So, I mean, now even multinationals are listing, they want to do, I don't know, issue sizes of thousands of crores and so on and so forth. Chalo ho gaya. Duniya bhar aayega. Kyun nahi aayega? I mean, there were times when in India, there used to be a concept of Nagar Seth. Abhi billionaire bolte hain na. एक एंटिला है, एक ये है, वो है, सब है, समझा? नगर सेठ, इंडिया we had a concept of Nagar Seth. Nagar Seth means he owned the whole Nagar. Okay, so he wasn't like a billionaire, ye wo. So there have been Nagar Seths in India whose bonds would trade in Zurich and London then, 100 years ago and above, and trade at interest rates lower than UK Treasury.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. There was Mulji Jetha, there was, I think, Jalan from Calcutta. Oh, kya baat kar raha hai? So all this was there. In those days, they had bonds trading in the developed markets. Okay, I mean, so Western market. Whether you call them developed, I don't know. Those time, and they would trade at lower risk premium than UK Treasury. देसी भाई, नगर सेठ. तो ये सब छोटा छोटा बिलियनर क्या है, इंडिया में नगर सेठ भी निकलेगा वापस.
And you mentioned there are certain things that India has to do right. What are those certain things, sir?
I think we're doing them broadly. I think as time goes by and as we've seen one crisis after the other, COVID now, financial crisis, then many Indira Gandhi assassination, Rajiv Gandhi assassination, all sorts, long history, wars, everything. The one thing that becomes clear is that India is the civilizational aspect of India hasn't died, and that the average Indian is a wise person. So populist things that have damaged democracies in Latin America and so on, those immaturities don't exist in India. So you just give, for instance, if you just give some sops and you can sway the crowd, like it happened in Venezuela, Argentina, many parts of the world. The Indian is a little more skeptical. So Indians have been a civilization. The memory of us being a civilization, a wise civilization for many centuries hasn't died in our genes. It exists. And so it's a calling that we are fulfilling, which was ours for very long periods of time. And where, outsiders, British basically robbed India. I mean, we came from 30% of world GDP to 3-4% of world GDP because it was pure robbery. Nothing else. Couched in very sophisticated, polite languages. And, we've been given a narrative that we like. But at the end of the day, it was robbery. And they got out scot-free also by having the English-educated class also, again, ruling India post-independence. So anyway, that's a long story, but we're coming out of all of that. And our civilizational roar is starting now. And the civilizational roar is coming from various corners. So, and they're all coming up. I know of, I mean, all of them are exceptional people. So no one's gotten there. I think it's just begun. I think you haven't seen the magic yet. It will start. I think our scales are, well, your kids will find it hard to believe that India was poor. Or, certainly your grandkids. But if you're lucky, maybe your kids will also believe that, India kabhi garib tha, doubt aa raha hai. I mean, like your generation finds it hard to believe that we didn't have phones, we didn't have scooter, we didn't have, correct, no?
Right.
Okay, we waited for 10 years for a scooter, one model, okay? Now you can have 20 models and do what you want. So you find it hard to believe. Same thing will happen to the next generation. So
I'm throwing a different one here.
Yeah.
Tell me the best experiences that you had in life.
इतना जजमेंट सामने पास करते हैं कि बेस्ट है, बुरा है. Life itself is magic.
आप बहुत philosophical हो रहे हो बॉस.
Philosophical हो रहे हैं. Best experience अभी it's unfair on so many. I would say because there's nothing best, because every day I would say if you live your life well, gets better and better. So I don't have any. I would say today is the best day. सच बोलूं तो आज ही अच्छा दिन है. So people say कि बचपन अच्छा था, college अच्छा था. I don't think so.
Best experience in terms of how should I say this? Best experience, I mean, which stimulated your different senses recently. Something that you did or way back.
Pleasure is a sensation, so is pain. Okay. Experience is also a sensation. Okay. तो उसको ओवरस्टेट करके what needs to be done at this moment has to be done, and it can be good experience, bad experiences. I don't think like that. I don't think in terms of good, bad. I think in terms of what needs to be done. So life is a unique experience. I mean, it's a privilege to be alive, and that's it. Good, bad, usme pata nahi. I mean, I don't think like that.
Tell me what's special about this room you mentioned. Cyrus Mistry got fired here. What's the story?
I don't know. I mean, this is what I don't know whether that is not sure about it. I mean, there was some sort of it was some sort of overnight coup. That's what I heard. I mean, I have no knowledge about it actually. So there are, I don't know.
Okay.
Some board meeting would have happened somewhere. But I really don't. I can't claim. These are rumors, so I have no idea. I'd rather not comment on it.
So you mentioned as an investor, you do 4 things. You understand the market, you read, you reflect, and you meet people. And when you used to, travel to different companies, you also said that you visited all the toilets. Help me understand. Why did you do so?
Because the mark of a superior person, in my view, is that he treats everyone similarly. The mark of the normal person treats people differently. So you can gauge the personality very well by seeing whether the person talks to the waiter the same way he talks to you, the way he talks to your boss, the way he talks to everybody is similar, or it's there are 10 different personalities for 10 different people. So just hygiene. I mean, the Seth having a great toilet and, the rest of the people having just, shabbiness. If you claim to be best in quality, this, that, and the other, I mean, it should show up, no? In your kitchen, in your toilet, in your other things. So it's just a random benchmark. I mean, not that you hang your hat on it.
Is it a common practice to have different toilets for management and for employees?
Yes.
Because I recently visited a company, a very big corporation. He's he comes on the top 100, top 15 richest people in India. Okay. And there was a chairman's toilet and there was an employee's toilet. So tell me one thing: is it common? Is it normal practice? ये हर जगह होता है?
Not everywhere, but in many places, yes. In many, so that also tells you something. So there's something, and there are a third category, visitors' toilet. So, so banker आएगा तो visitors' toilet. कोई लोन शार्क पैसा लेने को आएगा तो उसको ऑर्डिनरी में भेज दो, वही होगा. But small things, see, people, I would turn around and say the other way. People are like broadcasting stations. They advertise their true nature and self in all small actions.
Like, give me examples of those small actions apart from how you treat
How you
the
treat
waiter.
everyone, everything. That itself tells you that his conversation is not genuine. If 10 people are spoken to differently, then it tells you something about, you can figure out the person very fast. So why is he nice to you also you can figure out, or why is mean to you also you can figure out. So there are many things you can learn. You can learn many things. So everything is an advertisement. Your questions are advertising what is going on in you. I would rather say that you should treat every human being as a broadcasting station. You'll be surprised that I can tell you what's going on in the minds of people by just how they're sitting, how they're.
How do you sit? What does your way of sitting advertise about yourself?
A lot. A lot. Stillness. Are you, are you shaky, movie, everything? You're a broadcasting station. Everything's giving some hint or the other if you want to listen. So you get better with years. I mean, over time. basically what happens once you're in the market, whether you like it or not, we become great investigators. In fact, we should be running some of these investigative agencies
Forensic investigating.
just because we've heard stories from everybody, from Ratan Tata downwards. And so you have to figure out you have to deduce what is the real story behind the story spoken and so on and so forth. Correct? No?
True.
So over the years, you become good at body language investigation, just because you met thousands of managers, all of them selling you a story that they're going to the moon.
True.
Okay. And if you believed even if you made an error of 10%, you would have lost everything.
Right.
Okay. So you get better. So what people say also is advertising what they're doing, what is going on. So if you wish to look, I think you don't even really need to. Even if you read the interviews, you'll get to figure out or if you watch interviews also, you'll be able to figure out many things you can figure out. I mean, human beings advertise. I mean, there are whole sciences. People say about body language,
right,
movement. I mean, I'm not a master in any of them. My limited experience is that human beings do broadcast in their own way, much as they'd like to disguise it. I think people do advertise.
So you also mentioned you can't make money in efficient market.
Because efficient markets in a way believe that not that you can't make money, you can't outperform the market.
And how do you know whether market is efficient or not at a particular time?
It's a theory. It's efficient market theory is one of the sort of bellwether of modern corporate finance and financial theory, in all the leading universities believe in this efficient market theory. So I'm not saying it isn't, but I take a different view. I beg to differ. I say that the markets are trying to attain efficiency. They're not efficient, but as they attempt to stumble towards efficiency, they overshoot and undershoot. So there's great overshooting and great undershooting as markets tend towards.
And how do you understand whether markets are overshooting or undershooting? What's the sense?
Well, that is in figuring out what the market has factored in, what is the popular consensus in a stock or in the market, and what the reality is. So, is there a disconnect? Is there a
dissonance?
Is there a dissonance? Is the market too giddy or drunk about something or too depressed about something? So there are many things that give away. So trading volumes tell you. So one of again, I mean, I don't know why we're talking Soros. Never thought I'd be talking about Soros. But one of his famous lines that I've taken to heart is that buy a stock. I've followed that. That don't buy a stock because it is cheap. Buy a stock because it's forgotten. So those sort of things give way. So if a stock is totally neglected, forgotten, under-owned, trading volumes are low, valuation, there's so many, everything is a broadcasting story. But there is no one AI that you can apply and say this is the formula. Each one will come in a different avatar. Similar factors, but a combination. It's no different from, say, a bridge game. Set of cards, multiple chess, whatever it is. Although chess and all AI can play, but markets, people have tried till now. They haven't, it hasn't worked. So you can figure out if there's a dispersion between what is in the price and what is reality. Okay. You make money only because of that at the end of the day. If the prices incorporate so many things, and the reality somewhere down there or up there, you know. And so that is your calling card in a way.
Can you give me an example from the past where you figured out that the price action is where there is a dissonance between all the factoring that has been done in the price and the reality?
All the time. I mean, HDFC being at 1p.
And any recent examples? More recent examples in the past?
HDFC was 1p in 90s. For years it was at 1, 2, 3p, 4p. Pata nahi kyun. I mean, Deepak Parekh was Deepak Parekh, Satu Lekar was Satu. They were all good guys. They were good guys then also. They were a sincere bunch. No rocket science, but it was. Infosys was undersubscribed because no one wanted to buy it. Don't ask me why. But it didn't get subscribed. So it happens, that continues. This human madness continues. Okay. The inability, whatever you call it. You can call it whatever name you want, but these opportunities show up at all times. I mean, like Spotify had fallen like up 4 or 5 times. I forget the exact amount in the last 1 year or something. Tesla also, now efficient market. Why should anything go up 4 or 5 times in 6 months? Nothing. You still listen to Spotify 6 months ago. You're still listening to it now. But obviously, prices tend to overshoot and undershoot. You see? So markets are not efficient, in my view. They aspire to be efficient. And over long periods of time, they are efficient. I'm not saying they're not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying markets are inefficient, but they are aspiring to be efficient in the short run. And that's where you make your money.
How did you learn about the Tibetan medicine?
Interest. I have just interest in these fields.
You can make Tibetan medicines?
No, I can't make them.
Okay.
No, I can't claim to make them. I know I'm interested in Tibetan medicine because I happen to know some great practitioners of Tibetan doctors and so on. I've gotten to know over the years, and I've found them to be remarkably knowledgeable and very effective in what they do. So they obviously have an understanding of the human body.
And do you have any story with Ratan Tata, sir?
Oh, many stories. I mean, what sort of stories you want to hear? I can tell you many. Okay, let me tell you what happened. It rains heavily sometimes in Bombay, Traffic comes to a halt. Bombay is like shut. It happens virtually every year. So this must have been, 90s. I was going to Singapore. So it would have been Singapore, so 98, I think. Singapore crisis, Asian crisis time, I was going to Singapore every week. So I reached what we call Terminal 2 now. I was like 2-3 miles away. Okay. And it rained so heavily that the whole traffic came to a bloody halt. There was nothing you could do. You couldn't even turn back. So I decided, like, screw it. I'm going to go walking. Okay. And I didn't even have an umbrella. I said, okay, TK, I'll just walk because I have a job, I have things to do, and anyway, I'm stuck in this traffic. I'm walking all alone by myself on the road. Then I see one guy in a suit walking like, 30, 40 meters ahead of me. I said, like, it looks like Ratan Tata, but, there's not even a dog on the road. There's nobody. There's me and there's one individual 30, 40 meters in front of me. So I caught up with him and I said, I used to call, he was very young at heart that way. So I would call him Ratan. I said, Ratan, why are you walking on the road? He asked me, why are you walking on the road? So I said, I have a job. Okay. And, but you're Ratan. They said, "Nee, what is the point of waiting, this, that." So I said, it was impressive that, but I also took it a feather in my cap that at least I'm in good company here. I mean, like, at least two of us. So then we reached, totally drenched, both of us. We didn't have, umbrella didn't make sense also because we had luggage and, it was raining so hard. We reached the airport, Singapore Airlines. And by the time this Singapore Airlines knew that Mr. Tata is coming walking, so they were all chaos at the airport. So thanks to him, I got towels also. I got a spare shirt. I got upgraded to first class, and this and that. But that is Mr. Tata for you.
And is there any story where you left a meeting with him thinking, reflecting?
Yeah, all the time. He was very he had great understanding of technology, and his thinking process was a little different. He was less financially oriented and more I think big picture institutional thinking, I feel. So he was I don't think he was a financial guy. He was more of a builder, So he is a great human being in that way. I mean, there are many such incidents I can tell you about him personally. And he's a remarkable guy and a remarkably humble chap to talk to. And people thought, I think he was just shy. I don't think he was remote or he was arrogant or anything at all. He was just a good guy. Great memory and he could remember and so on. Amazing.
Let's do a bunch of rapid fire questions, sir.
Sure.
Very quick ones.
Sure.
Do you know Rhythm Desai? Of course, you must.
Yeah, he's still in
Yeah. If you were to interview him, what is one thing that you would ask him?
I have not followed him, to be honest. So I have no idea.
Do you follow?
I can't claim to know him well.
Done. Do you know Sunil Munjal, sir?
Sunil, I know, I used to know the old man. I don't know.
Pawan Munjal, sir.
Pawan Munjal's father, Brijmohan Munjal. Sunil, I don't know.
How did you end up hearing for the Hero Honda for the first time?
It was a Honda not a subsidiary, joint venture. And Brijmohan had started the company. So in that context, again, it was trading at $10, $12. I think market cap was 20 or 40 crores.
इतनी बार ये पूछते हो सर, इतनी बार आपने स्टोरी सुना रहे कि हर उसमें कि it was trading at, but it's very hard to find companies like this which are trading at this multiple. You have a screener. You figure out companies trading at different multiple.
ये multiple पे आएगा. I won't take names. ये multiple पे आएगा तो तू खरीदेगा नहीं. हिम्मत नहीं रहेगा खरीदने को. When stocks are dirt cheap, everyone gets paralyzed. There's great comfort in buying things when they're rising up because you're part of the gang. You go to a cocktail circuit, everyone's buying it. You have comfort in numbers that कुछ तो कर रहा हूँ मैं. सभी लोग अपार्टमेंट ले रहे तो मैं भी ले रहा हूँ. समझा? वो बात है. I can tell you that these stocks were cheap because no one had the courage to buy them. And that happens every time.
In a market like today also?
Yes. Today. I bought a stock, I can't name it, which has a 30% ROE, which has fallen 25% and is trading at 10 times earning, has no debt, and has dividends that have gone up. What it IPO'd in 15 years ago is its dividend return every year. Okay, that was available last week at a price that is up 25% today. It happens all the time. But I guarantee no one was buying it. Every FIR was selling it. And I asked people also. No one wanted to buy it. I mean, I'll send you some star fund managers who some of my analysts went and asked, and what they said. No one wanted to buy. You freeze. I never worry about someone front running me because I know no one will buy what I'm buying. Because my traders have always thought कि ये तो fluke है, ये कभी तो मरेगा. So no one will have the courage to actually buy. No. Because I'm buying a little ahead of time, no? And I'm buying something that is unpopular. So that combination is lethal. No one has the... Because markets also make you jittery like a rabbit. I'm not... It's available at all times. It's may not be 2p, but it'll be 10p or 12p. But in today's market, that is the equivalent of 2p at that time. So, but I'm saying that it rolls all the... Oil was negative during COVID time in the world. A global commodity was trading below zero.
Right.
आज 70 hai. This didn't happen when your father was around trading. This happened when you were trading 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
So where does the courage go? Why do we freeze?
It comes down to that. Market, you make money in markets for pain, patience and courage. There's no fourth factor. Okay. You got to be able to take pain, patience and courage to stand when the whole world is running one way, you're running the other way. You try to buy oil when it was negative. You wouldn't have bought. So it's not about, it actually is less about knowledge, is more about your personal ability, personal traits.
What's the most important thing for you now? At this point?
Most important thing for me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have, I mean, I respond to the day every day. So, I mean, it depends on context. I don't know. Okay. I mean, it's too, certainly making more money is not the most important thing. That's for sure.
And what are you teaching your son?
Be a good human being. Just be a kind, compassionate human being and find your own way. Yeah.
And do you have mentors in life today?
No. Life is your mentor. Life is. Life is guru.
What did life teach you?
Everything.
In recent days, in recent times?
Everything. Oil turns negative to positive. Market taught me something.
You bought oil when it was negative?
I was dying to buy. But I don't trade commodities. I didn't have the infrastructure to do it and all that at that time. And it was sort of blip. But yes.
And when you met promoters, did you have any favorite questions that you would ask him? You would often find yourself asking certain questions to the promoters.
No, I listen.
What do you listen to? You have to nudge them before listening, right?
No. People are broadcasters. People have verbal diarrhea, boss. So everyone wants to talk about ki meri baat kuch aur hai. So you don't even have to say hello and people start talking. The more silent you are, the more they'll talk. So just be a good listener. And it's better not to go with a preset notion or a preset... it's just like this interview. I mean, there's no preset answer I'm giving. So it is better to go with an open mind and just see what happens. Because sometimes when you go prepared, you stick to your script and you sort of may miss some important... and as the person speaks, I mean, you can always ask some general questions like, how did you start off or how do you get into it?
But those are motherhood questions.
So, see, the answer, the real question cannot be asked and the real answer he will not give. Okay?
This is so true. Yes.
Correct है ना?
बिल्कुल correct है बस.
तो ये वही बात है. So you have to figure out the real answer and your questioning should also not be so obvious that he knows from where you're coming. Because promoters are too smart. Once they know तेरे को ये सुनना है तो वही सुनाएंगे तेरे को.
Give me an example of that. Where, but just like you said, you will know the intent of the question. And then you are at a better position to answer this. So if the promoter knows the intent of your question, he will sell you that story.
Correct.
So how do you ask a question without telling them intent? It's like you have to deceive someone. How
No, you
deceive?
don't have to deceive someone. You just sit and listen. You just sit and listen and then look at facts. Look at the balance sheet. Is there corroboration? Use your common sense. Okay, and then look at competing balance sheets. Look at analyst reports. There's so many other things. And you'll see the disconnect, if there is one. So, no one's going to give you truth on a platter. Okay. The world is about selling. Everyone's marketing something or the other to everyone. Okay. So, it's happening in families itself. It's happening in buildings themselves. It's happening everywhere. So, you have to figure out the art of what person. You can't take things literally.